So what we're going to do today, I'm going to play a 5-minute, 6-minute video. Has anybody ever heard of the cash flow quadrant? Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, so we're going to watch a little 6-minute video with Robert talking about the cash flow quadrant. And we'll talk a little bit more in depth of it after that. And I'm going to tie it in with some stuff that I've learned through some of my mentors about what he's talking about in creating cash flow for your business. And we'll talk about that, and we'll make it an open forum. There'll be a lot of Q&A or whatever you want, okay? So something a little different for the last minute. So let me switch screens here. So have any of you guys ever heard the house is not an asset? Anybody heard that? Does it make sense with how he explained an asset? An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. My friend Frank, now Frank's worth about $500 million. He's one of my mentors. And Frank always says you need to put yourself in a situation, if you're in business, where you have more money, transactions putting more money into your pocket every day than transactions taking it out. So part of the cash flow quadrant, has anybody read this book, by the way? Okay. If you haven't read it, get it and read it. But be ready to have notes, have some highlighters, go through it. It's one of those books that as you read it, you're going to sit, you could read 2 paragraphs in the chapter and you go, holy shit. I didn't realize, and you start thinking about it. It's one of those books that really helps get you inside of your noggin and how things really work. So Robert was talking about with the house and some examples we were talking about this morning. They're peddling gold. How much an ounce is it? $5,000 an ounce for gold. Is gold an asset? Is it? If you sell it for a profit, okay? What was that, Eric? Not if I buy it now. Yeah, no. But it's not an asset according to Robert. An asset, so John, rental properties, that's an asset, okay? How Frank made a lot of his money was paying cash for rental properties. Now he owns like, I don't know, 50 of them, 60 of them, something like that, plus other things he does with other businesses he has. But it's a matter of that creates cash flow, money into your pocket. So Frank actually just recently bought a boutique hotel in Charleston. And he has 3 rules that he looks at any purchase before he does a purchase. How much does it cost? How long is it going to take me to get my money back? And how long am I going to get residual income out of that asset? Okay? So that's the big thing. How long is residual income going to be? So we'll get into that in a second. But the cash flow quadrant, like Robert talked about, so most people, we go to school, we're told by our parents, go get a good job, you know, work for a living, get a paycheck. And the school system sets us up to do that. I did, back in 2019, I was asked to do a presentation for the exchange at UCF. It's where most of like the banks and the big corporate sponsors go in and talk to the employees. I did a talk called 8 Life-Changing Lessons You'll Never Learn in School. And out of some of the research that I had done, I found out that our school system is actually built and based on the Prussian military model from the 1700s, about the time of the Revolutionary War. They would take kids, 3, 4, 5 years old, out of their home, put them in school, teach them to be a good student. Every once in a while, they might find a good little boy that was a little bit accelerated than the other kids, so they'd take him aside and teach him to be a leader, build him up in leadership. And if you think about it, how do our schools work? Show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. No, you can't go to the bathroom, Johnny. You got to wait till the break, right? Go walk down the hall. And they do that. Then they get us ready for corporate America. Go punch a clock. So it's important to look at that. If you're going to be in business, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to understand that we create our own future as an entrepreneur. And so the question is, How do you want to get where you're going? Self-employed, what happens is most people go from employee to self-employed. They're still trading time for money. Frank calls them, he said, what most people that are self-employed don't recognize is that they are their only asset. And if they don't get their asset out of bed in the morning, they're going to be broke, right? Think about it. Why is that true? You have dentists. If the dentist doesn't go to work, the dentist isn't going to see any clients. The dentist isn't going to make any money that day. Tiger Woods, when he was playing golf, was self-employed. If those guys don't make the cut by Friday, they're not paid over the weekend. Now, Tiger's, like some of the very few small percent of the top golfers, because of who they are and their success, they're able to move into that big business quadrant over here. And how do they do that? They move into that big business quadrant because of their name, their branding. They can sell themselves, they can market themselves, and they have the money that they can create other enterprises that are generating cash flow for them. So that's what business is. Business, these two, if you'll notice, the clock, right, changing time for money. Over here, it's a business system where you have people working with you or working for you. A real estate broker, the guy who owns the company, is working a business system. He could have one office, he could have 100 offices. He's still using that system because if he doesn't go into work that day, his office is still going to run. The people that are working for him, right, John? They're still going to go out and they're going to sell real estate. An insurance broker is the same way. An insurance broker owns the office. They can go out, they can write their own business. They can have their agents go out. They're paid on whatever contract they agree to. And they're paid. They're independent contractors in most cases in the insurance world. Sometimes, like in the laws, when I was running a mortgage company, they changed us from being 1099 to W-2. So they kind of put handcuffs on us and prevented us from doing what we were doing and being able to make the income that they did, but yet it was still a system. The problem with the mortgage industry, if you're an independent agent or you're working for somebody else, if you're not selling homes or financing homes, you're unemployed. Seriously, I came to a point where I realized if I don't sell a home, I'm unemployed between closings. Think about that for a second, right? You have no cash coming in. So what can you do to create cash and create cash flow? So that's what a business owner does. And then an investor, people that understand running a business system will take a percentage of their income and put it away into an investor. Now, Robert talks about an investor not like an employee or self-employed person that has a company-sponsored IRA or 401k. To him, that's not an investment. To him, an investment is going out and buying a rental property, studying the market, buying stocks or bonds or whatever investment vehicle you want to invest in, understanding the market and working the market. So that's where the difference lies in there. So let's talk about cash flow and how would it apply to you and to your business and what you can do in your business to create cash flow and create actually a business system and go from self-employed to business owner so that if you don't show up, you could still work. And what you know, how do you know that you've created a business system? Because if you could walk away from what you're doing for a year and then come back and your business has grown, whether you're there or not, you've created a business system. So let's talk about that. This is something Frank shared with me. Understanding reoccurring income. What exactly is it? So like we talked about with the employed, working a job, on average 45 years, 93,500 hours of your time at 40 hours a week. You don't own it, you can't sell it, and you can't leave it to anybody. When you stop working, you stop getting paid. Fair to say? Is anybody getting money from jobs they used to have? No. Well, but that's totally different, okay? And while you're working, right, you have one or two one or two members working and trying to pay the bills. Boom, 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 boom. Warren Buffett says, there was a great video I saw with him not too long ago. He was talking about some of the biggest killers of wealth creation that Americans and people in general fall into was buying a house that's too big and beyond what they need because they're trying to stay up with the status quo and stay up with their neighbors, and always buying new cars. He said cars lose 10 to 20% of their value the second they drive off the lot. Fair, right? I think we've all experienced that. So when I first learned that, I've always bought used cars. And if you can find a friend or somebody that can buy you a car off the auction, that's the best way to go, because they'll even be able to buy cars less that way, and they can still make a little bit of a profit for helping you out, but you're going to get a better car for less money than you would if you tried to go buy it off the dealership lot again. So those are just some of the things Warren talks about. And what happens is this is creating financial instability, stress, sadness, bondage, right? We're stuck because if we don't go to work, we don't get paid. And the other thing is, what happens if you lose your job or you become sick and you can't work or you have to go into the hospital? What happens? Everything tends to collapse, because do your bills go away if you stop working? Right? The creditors don't care. They don't. I mean, look at what happened back in the 2010s it's a depression, I don't care what they say. But I was working in the mortgage industry, and I thought we made it through that, and then 2010 hit, and the recession of 2010 hit, and it literally wiped us out. I had no way of making any other income. That's when I really realized I was unemployed between closings. And, I mean, that's happened, and most families can't afford a $400 problem. Think about that. That's pretty sad. So what happens is you need to create some form of recurring income in your business. So one of the best models, obviously, is a subscription-based model. If you have a service that you could sell somebody on your subscription base, so like Bob does stuff with marketing and branding and things like that, right? So he could set up, there's marketing companies that'll go out and they'll give you one flat fee, we'll do this for you. But they're starting to get smart and say, well, instead of charging one flat fee, if I charge them a little bit of money every month, hopefully they'll keep me around for a while. People are learning that you can outsource services. There's a lot of outsourced bookkeepers, a lot of outsourced accountants that I know that instead of charging what they charge, they might charge you $100 or a couple $100 a month to help keep your book balanced. If you want them to pay checks and do other things like that, then they charge a little bit more. But the bottom line, it's a whole heck of a lot less expensive than having to hire somebody and bring them in-house. So they're creating a reoccurring income. Now, what could that person do in that accounting thing? Well, they could go out and they could hire other bookkeepers or other accountants or other people that they could work together. Now, that accountant is running their firm. Now you have these other people that are working for them, right? They're getting paid. This person's getting paid passively. If they don't show up, these guys can still go out and work. Maybe they hire somebody that could go out and generate revenue, a marketing or a branding person that could go out and help gain new clients. Or maybe they have the person that's running, that not the owner that's running, but the agent that's running for them, like they do in a lot of the banks these days. Go out, bring in a new client, and we'll give you a bonus for that. Plus they get paid for bringing in that extra client because they have that reoccurring revenue stream. So those are things that you want to think about. How can you create? What are you doing today in your business that you could create some form of a subscription model or something that you could help generate people. Because the biggest thing is, too, most people, when they go out, most business owners, when they go out, they think, I've got to go get new clients. It's more expensive to go get a new client than it is to take somebody that's an existing client, make sure that they're being serviced properly, and then asking them for referrals. Okay? If I gave you a cold call and said, hey, my name's Jim, we haven't met, this is what I do, does that sound like something we should have a conversation about? Get off the phone, stop calling me, click, right? But if I called you and said, hey, my friend, our mutual friend Murray is one of my clients, and he thought you might be interested in what we're doing with your business. Could we schedule a time where I could have maybe 10 or 15 minutes to come in, share with you what we're doing, and see if it's a fit? Which one are you more likely to say, hey, come on in, right? The second one, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. So it's better to service your existing clients. That can help create that reoccurring income. So when you create reoccurring income, this is how your life changes. It gives you the ability to not have to worry about having a job. You could buy rental property, things that you can own, sell, or will, as well as your business. Because again, one of the biggest problems with self-employed people, I've known a number of people over the years that have been self-employed, and they think, I can sell my business. What are you selling? Well, I have all of these clients that, well, that's great. You're the face, you're the business. What says that they're going to do business with somebody that buys it? You have nothing to sell. Part of the reason why I started my own mortgage company was because the woman that owned the company that I was working for said, I want to sell the company. I went through, I had a friend of mine who did business valuations and stuff, looked at it and said, Jim, this is worth no more than $25,000. She wanted $150,000. She had nothing to sell, nothing. She didn't own the building she was in. She didn't maintain the database, the email list, and marketing to her existing clients. Nothing. And the people that were there, who knows if they would have stayed if I ended up buying the company from her. And she didn't want to accept the fact that her company was worthless. She really had nothing to sell. So it's important, again, that if you can create a reoccurring income stream, now all of a sudden you have a saleable business. You have something that you could turn around because you're selling a system to somebody, okay? And now you're living life by design. And you have other people that can help you along the way, be it either people that you're working with. If you're in the insurance industry, you could help set up the people that are working with you as individual, not only agents, but under your corporate umbrella, give them the ability to go out and hire other agents. They're doing that in the real estate market now, right? Like Exit and some of those companies. They're giving, because they came to realize that the agents know the other good agents out there who they would like to have as part of their company to work with. So that, again, they're giving that agent that ability to be able to make that reoccurring income or that override income, that passive income. So as you guys are out there building your business, some things that you want to talk about and that you want to think about is, how can I systematize my business? What can I do to create reoccurring revenue? And how am I going to do that? Okay? Because that business model creates the cash flow that you want, and it will help create what you're looking for to be able to move forward in creating that long-term peace of mind. And I'm going to close with this, and I'm going to give you probably one of the best examples I know of this. So my friend Nathan, I had met Nathan. He had been working with this company for about 5 years, maybe 4 years at that point in time. And he was a young kid, 24, 25 years old, but he was a go-getter. And several years later, he ended up having to walk away from the business because he had issues. He had to move to Washington, D.C., marital things, stuff like that. But he kept in touch with, he still had the corporate entity and the stuff that he had set up. And he told me one day, I saw him, and I said, Nathan, I really want to commend you on what you did to help save your marriage. So many people would walk away from that today. I said, really? He goes, Jim, it wasn't an option for me. And he said, but you know, the greatest thing about working with this company and doing what I did, he said, for 7 years I busted my butt. The company continued to pay me every month between $3,000 and $5,000 for the last 3 years that I've been gone. Now he's coming back and continuing to rebuild his company. But that to me says that's what residual income looks like. So if you can do that with your company, you can win in long term. So we got about 20 minutes. Let's do a little get to know you. So if you're a company, if your business, what you do was a song, if you had a theme song for your business, what would it be and why? What would it be and why is what you want to do, okay? Can be any type of music that you like, and you just, so when you get up, your name, your business name, what's the name, not what you do, just your name and your business name, and what's the song, and why is that song, why would that song be the theme song of your business? Okay, it could be many songs. Many songs. Right. So for me, all right, my name's Jim Alifat, and I own the Alifat Agency. I represent Legal Shield. My theme song is a song called Overcomer by Mandiza. And it's talking about how through life struggles and things, we get down. We tend to get down and we let life beat us up. But she sings about having the positive mental attitude of overcoming those obstacles, because those obstacles are what help us grow to be a better person. And when I started doing what I'm doing, I was, just finishing a contested adoption, and this was it. I saw what I wanted to do. It was, I don't care. I'll take whatever I have to do it as long as I have to do, but quitting is not an option. So that song was really, when that came out, I was at a real low when I first heard that song, and it's been just a driving force for me all along. So who's next? Bernd.
My name is Bernd Müller. I'm the owner of Müller's F&B's, the hospitality company. My song would be Chariots of Fire. It's an unbelievable song because it inspires me, gives me exuberance, and that's what, since I left Germany, many years ago and moved to Mexico and lived there, it was a great teaching process, go from one culture to a completely different culture. Particularly in my industry, work in the hotel industry, opened all major 3 hotels here in town, the World Center, the Omni, and Gala Palms as chef. So the huge places where I had 200 cooks, 35 managers, 3 executive chefs under me. So when I listen to Chariots of Fire, that really comes
Chariots
back,
of Fire. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my story. I might could get in that just in a nutshell. Could get into so many other different things, but if you want to be in the business world, you have to be contagious.
Right.
You really have to be somebody who gets going and kicks ass if you have to do it, because it's an art. It's not only managing with calmness, it's managing with energy.
Right.
There's one great example. I don't know if you're a soccer fan. You watch Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, the great coach. When they came to Liverpool 10 years ago, the club was not doing well. When he left, it was unbelievable. There was no title and no trophy he didn't win because of his exuberance, of his unbelievable willpower to take people on the joyous ride to be successful. So that was always my mantra,
Yep.
Influence people in a positive way. That's leading.
Perfect.
So that's it.
Anybody
Anybody
else?
else? Nobody?
Yep.
The
Pass
third
that
and main
back.
course, all here.
Is this working? Yeah? Does this work or no?
Yes, it doesn't come, it's for the video,
okay.
not for the sound system.
So I'm Melanie Holmes DeWitt, and I specialize in something, a category that I've sort of devised myself called neurosafety. I have two songs. My first song is Still Standing by Elton John. Like, I am not down, and it's been insane. Second one is No Body, No Crime, Taylor Swift. So I help in the forensic category, but I specialize in deception and psychological deception. So it's pretty female-based, just because as a female, I was targeted as a female. If I was a male, I would not have been targeted. But Jim, I have to say, I really appreciate this presentation. I grew up with a dad who was self-employed as a physician, but didn't help with the system, right? Now my sister actually has a concierge medicine company, so she's actually now the business system. But it's interesting to see that my dad would have never felt comfortable doing it. You know, you're just a physician, you don't go and do anything. And then my sister was able to become a concierge. So it's interesting to see that jump and the difference of her life now based on what she's done. But
Awesome, thank you.
Eric Deckers, I'm a professional ghostwriter and content marketer. My theme song would be Elvis Costello, Every Day I Write the Book.
Yeah,
My walk-up song, which I always challenge people to have the walk-up song, is Led Zeppelin's Kashmir,
yeah,
because it's just such a badass song.
yeah. That's for sure.
Hi, I saw lots of new face. Very good. Yeah, I think lots of people still remember me. I did the New Year's Eve the presentation about Webby, right? So Webby will be the best #1 business card in the world. We already got 600 users right now, and did nothing app, social media, just in person. And after that, we will do social media soon. So my Webby, you know, can speak multiple language, introduce me and the business in the world.
So tell us who you are and what's the name of your company.
Okay, let my business card do it. Then you can say. Let me see.
And do you have a song?
What is no word? I don't know. It's not work. No signal. Maybe. Okay.
Hi, I'm
Okay.
Lynn, the founder and designer of Webby. I often attend business networking events, but I realized 99% of business cards end up in the trash, and 99% of networking is just wasted time. So, how can people remember you and your business at first sight? How can you stay connected and keep the conversation going? How can you break language barriers and introduce your business to more people? That's why I created Webby, your AI-powered 4D identity. She's
Okay,
your
so
smart
what's your
networking
song?
assistant, your social
What's my
radar,
song?
Yeah.
your
My song, just keep going.
Just keep going, there you go.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi everyone, my name is Dennis, first time here. Pleasure to stay here, listen to the speech.
what's the name of your company?
I'm CDO Monster, I'm a fractional CDO. I'm helping non-tech founders to bring their products to life.
Okay, and what's your...
I think it could be Frankie Goes to Hollywood with Relax, Don't Do It, you know that? Yeah, actually I'm thinking about that song, like it's goes aligned with my vibe of sometimes not to be like overthinking and overcomplicated and just throughout all what which is like not main, you know. So
That's great.
it. Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. Next?
I'll go too. Name, Michael Martin. Business name is autoshops.com. Song is It Don't Mean a Thing If You Ain't Got the Swing. Do up,
Yeah.
do up. Why? So been doing it for a long time, and if you don't have that go or that special thing, it's hard to get a business started and keep the momentum.
Yep, that's for darn sure. Anybody else over here? Kevin?
So my name's Philip Mead. Company name is Gallagher Edge, and My song is Inside Out. I can't remember the name of the artist. It's a Christian artist, but I can't remember who it is exactly. The why is actually 40 years ago today, the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up on launch. 17 years after that, almost to the day, the Space Shuttle Columbia blew up on reentry. And the reason was actually connected. It was the organizational culture at NASA was to blame. And I was the one that was asked to fix once and for all the organizational culture at Kennedy Space Center so that there wasn't another accident after that. And now I help companies find the hidden cracks underneath their cultures so that things that they don't know are present can be surfaced and fixed. And so the reason I picked the song Inside Out is because what I learned is that it really is starting from the inside out. It's really what's going on inside the human beings within organizations that's creating that. And so a lot of times it can look like things are great on the surface, people are happy, but when you get into off-nominal situations, sometimes what's going on the inside is really what's it all about.
Hello, my name is Kevin Walker, and my company is Symposia Eco Marketing. I like a good challenge. I like to be in the moment, so I was like, wow, can I come up with a song in 90 seconds? And after thinking through 3 or 4, I picked Love Train by the OJs. So my tagline is promoting symbiosis in the marketplace. I believe that we're at a turning point in humanity where the fear and survival and competition won't take us to where we all want to be, and that cooperation, creativity, community, and understanding how the ecology supports us, and we can not just work with nature, but work with each other and our diversity of skills and resources. And so people all over the world join hands, and we can create new possibilities and new, and only through a voluntary. It's all through willful participation, and the marketplace allows for that.
Perfect. Thank you much.
Hello, I'm Alexei Volchek with Virtual Open House. We do real estate marketing and real estate media, essentially. And every time I photograph a house, I just have some EDM pumping through my earbuds. So I guess the most famous EDM song that you can probably remember would be, oh, it's empty anyway, would be Avicii Levels. So the reason why I like EDM is there's actually very little lyrics. So my brain's turned off, I'm photographing a house, and I'm having a good time. That's it.
Perfect.
You ever try Lords of Acid?
Lords of Acid?
The band, Lords of Acid?
I'll have to look it up. Thanks.
It's a bit R-rated.
Okay, I've been warned.
Hi, good morning. I'm Heath Miller, Planning and Promotions, Media Marketing. The song I would choose, Push It to the Limit. Love that song, and the reason for that is every day we research and analyze how to help companies with views, impressions, sales, and so every day we're pushing how to do all that and get better at it for companies.
All right, perfect. 40 years ago today, huh? 40 years ago today, I was in Lake Tahoe in Squaw Valley. I had driven from the condo where I was, my cousin's condo, to the post office to drop my skis off. When I walked in the post office, when I left the house, the shuttle had not launched yet. Drove to the post office. I walked in, the postman was just bawling. And I'm like, what's wrong? What happened? He goes, the shuttle, it just blew up. I'm like, it hasn't even launched yet. Listen. And he had it on the radio, and I'm sitting there listening. And the worst part of that whole day was, I flew that day. I had to get on a plane. I was flying to San Francisco, down to Santa Barbara. I'll tell you what, 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, whatever time we left, I had about 6 drinks before I got on that plane. There was no way I was going on that plane. I was petrified. I just, yeah, I got to go. We got a team. Okay, yes.
And I think sort of in the spirit of entrepreneurship, I got this in an email newsletter. It was on this day in 1754 that the word serendipity was first coined. The idea
Nice.
that you you meet the right person at the right time in the right place, seemingly at random, that is serendipity. That's what networking's all about.
Exactly. Perfect. These are our sponsors that are here that help. This is literally a non-income producing entity. Everything is done voluntarily. So those of us that are sponsors, we contribute cash or goods. Like I take care of the coffee cups and those type of things. Peter provides the coffee. Eric does the media marketing, different things like that. So we all help with different things. If there's something you would think that might be able to fit or you have any interest in doing that, come see us after. We can help you with that. So make sure, please, that you like, follow, and share about 1 Million Cups on social media. Why do you want to do that? Because it can help not only increase the community, but it could introduce you to another entrepreneur that you need to know, or they may need to know you. So like, follow, and share. And if you have some pictures, take pictures and post them. Also, connect with someone. Go have coffee. There's a great little coffee shop right over here called Coffee for the Soul. Just walk right through the tunnel, and it's right in front of you across the street. Attend, apply, present, prepare, and present. That's what this is all about. Come see what we're about. Come see if you like the community. Share your project, share what you're doing. Let us know about it. Because again, word of mouth marketing is going to help, and then present. And why do you want to present? Because you have marketing and brand awareness. It exposes you to other people that may need to know what you do. We've had some great companies come through here. Like Ling just talked about, her Webby app. I mean, this thing is a CRM on steroids, the information that it can send. Practice and feedback is growth. Create strategic partnerships, as we've talked about. Hiring and retaining talent. And then, of course, the get to know you experience. That's why we meet at 8:30 till 9 o'clock. And you're welcome to hang out for about a half hour afterwards if you want to get to know somebody while you're here. These are people that are on the organizing committee, those of us that are here, and Eric over there, and Tim and John. Okay? No, you're not you're on the sponsor. So our closing thought for the day is from the great Jim Rohn. The major reason for setting a goal is for what it makes of you to accomplish it. What it makes of you will always be far greater value than what you get. Jim Rohn. It goes back to the old question, would you rather have $1 million in cash or the ability and skills to make $1 million? I'd rather have the skills, personally. So with that, guys, have a great week. Enjoy yourself. Help get rid of the coffee and donuts. Got a fresh pot there.